be a screw, feel my own adrenaline. Yeah, I do just what I do, and I hope you let me in, yeah.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to Cypherfics. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the second part of, What If Ichigo Enters Queen's Blade? Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. Risty and Claudette began their fight as their clash was heard by Ichigo, who's heading back to Lena's room, and Alina, who was rushing to where Claudette's at, until she spotted a familiar figure with red hair wearing a black battle kimono as he was rushing towards Lena. "Hang on, Lena. I'm coming," Ichigo cried until he encountered a familiar face. "I found you, Samu," Alina said until she took a closer look at the red-haired Shinigami. "Weren't you a girl?" "Ah geez," Ichigo thought when he sighed. Of all people it had to be the cat girl with the bipolar personality. "Yes, I was," Ichigo replied. "This medallion turned me into a girl when I wear it. This is who I truly am without it. My real name is Ichigo Samu. I don't care what you are. All that matters is that I found you, and now I will reap my revenge for what you did to me earlier," Alina exclaimed as she readied her weapon. "Seriously, Alina." Ichigo gripped the bridge of his nose in frustration. "Look, cat lady, I don't have no time to cosplay with you. I have to go save your sister." "I won't let you get anywhere near my sister," exclaimed Alina as she charges towards Ichigo as she makes a downward slash with her staff. Ichigo immediately blocked it. Suddenly she tries to use her iron claws to scratch his face, but he managed to push her away, inches before Alina turned his face into a scratching post. He then kicked her away and attempted to make a quick dash, but Alina immediately blocked his escape. "Damn it, she's persistent," Ichigo thought while he held his ground. "I'm gonna enjoy taking you down," Alina said while showing her wry smirk. "Ah great," Ichigo sighed. "This is gonna take a while." The two resumed their fight, unaware, on Alina's point of view, a pink blob was heading up to Lena's room. At the same time, Lena donned on her armor and cut off her long hair. She kept 2 bangs of hair on her sides and braided them. "To the strongest, go the spoils," Lena thought as she got her armor on. "Mother, wish me luck on my new quest as a noble warrior," Lena thought while looking at her reflection on the mirror. Then she heard someone at the window. She turned and saw Melona. "Where you're going, Lena?" she asked. "Don't leave me behind, please." With a sadistic grin, she eyes glowed when used her power to blow her and her room up. Ichigo, who's a few feet away, sensed her presence. "DMN. Melona again," he said to himself. "Hang on, Lena. I'm coming." Ichigo tried to jump, but Alina managed to catch him by snaring his leg with a wire from her staff. He then slammed him down to the ground. "I won't let any dogs like you get anywhere near my sister," Alina barked at him. "Lena is mine, understand?" Ichigo didn't answer while he remained on the ground, still gripping on to his zanpakuto. Alina smirked down at him until he slowly got up. Her smirk slowly faded away as the young Shinigami slowly rises back up into her ears. He made a soft chuckle which then grew to a loud laugh. "You're really something, aren't you, cat girl?" Ichigo said. Your oldest sister and even your dad are still blind to the truth. Don't you dare act like you know us." Alina used her wire attachment again to ensnare Ichigo's right arm. Ichigo gripped the wire and immediately pulled her towards him and then elbowed her in the stomach, making her fall on her knees while holding onto her stomach. Open your DMN eyes. Ichigo barked. You and your family are forcing Lena to take a role she never want to take. Lena already has her mind set on traveling the world. I didn't make her, neither did Risti. Lena did this on her own free will. Now if you excuse me, I have a future warrior that needs saving. As Ichigo turned around and began walking away, Alina gets back up along with picking up her weapon. She then charged towards. She will be the next countess. Alina cried. I won't allow dogs like you to stop her from reaching her dream. Alina charged towards Ichigo with her staff at hand, intending to impale him. Ichigo growled and by swinging his Zanpakuto upward, the force of his swing sent Alina towards a wall. The impact not only caused her weapon to be shattered, but the left side of her metal bikini top and her claw gauntlet were broken apart. What was that? Alina thought. That attack almost killed me. She slowly raised her head up to Ichigo, who retracted his Zanpakuto back into his sheath. Ichigo sighed and turned away slightly to see several explosions from where Lena's at. He turned back to Alina. Is he really that strong? She continued. Alina, if you truly love your sister, then you and Claudette should let her make her own dream, not the one you're forcing her. Ichigo replied as she remembered what Ichigo as Saika said to her. Lena's in a level that you can never reach. No matter how hard you try or how helpful you can be with her, you can never understand the ambition Lena possesses. She already found her own path, not one that was forged by you, Claudette, nor your father. Lena is like your late mother, strong and full of ambition. I can feel it in her spirit. Ichigo continued. I'm going to help your sister, so she'll begin where her mother had started. Until then, you rest until your squad comes to help you up. Until we meet again, cat girl. DDMN, you. Alina muttered as she watched Ichigo turn to Lena direction and left using Shunpa. It wasn't long when some of the guards helped Alina back to her feet. Lena survived the blast as she got back up, but when she did, she saw Melona standing before her. She gripped her sword and held her ground, as she anticipated Melona's next array of attacks. Like I said. No one has ever called me a monster and lived to tell about it. She said while walking towards her. I'm here to kill you and that masked man for calling me that. Exactly like I said. As she revealed her melons to Lena, ready to fire her acidic BRST milk at her, Ichigo's voice was heard from the two girls. Not while I'm here, you wicked monster. Lena and Melona looked up and saw Ichigo high in the sky, diving towards Melona and readying his attack. Ichigo. Lena was happy to see he's okay. Sen. Ichigo spun around as he summoned his hollow mask while charging his attack. Sanzu. He called out the name of his attack as he swung his sword, releasing a condensed beam that's just as hot as the sun towards the protean monster. The attack struck her as a small part of the building was dissolved from the attack. Ichigo landed beside her. Ichigo, how did you do that? Lena was astonished from his attack that hit Melona. There's no time. Ichigo replied. My attack did hit her, but she'll come back to get us. Let's go. Ichigo and Lena moved from building to building until they arrived to a two-story house. When they got there, Melona emerged. At last I get to face you again, masked swordsman. Melona said with a cheerful manner. Wait, weren't you a girl before? It's complicated, but this isn't the time or the place to explain. He replied. But, on the bright side, I'm gonna enjoy taking you down, you monstrous freak of nature. Ichigo prepared himself until Lena saw the holes made by her acid on the roof. She smirked as she got an idea to take Melona down. Ichigo, hold your fire. Lena said. What's up? He asked. Do you know any spells that can blind someone? Lena asked. I have something in that category. Ichigo replied. Why? I have an idea, just follow my lead. She replied as she looked at the ground. Ichigo turned and saw what she meant and followed her lead. Meanwhile Risty and Claudette exchanged blows around the rubble-filled grounds. Just as one last clash was made, the roof above them collapsed. Risty took the opportunity to flee while she has the chance. "Get back here, thief!" Claudette yelled. "Not a chance, Thundercloud General," Risty said with a smirk as she left with a bit of gold left. Back on the roof, Lena and Ichigo began strategizing how to beat her. Melona continued to laugh happily at them. 5 more steps. Ichigo and Lena thought together as they counted the number of steps Melona's making. 4, 3, 2. Monster! Lena cried. "We got places to go after we deal with you." "Did you just call me a monster again?" Melona asked as she stopped. "So what if she called you a monster?" Ichigo replied. "You are a monster, Melona." Melona growled at them. "That's it. For that, you shall suffer." Melona took one final step. Lena immediately turned to Ichigo. "Ichigo, now!" cried Lena. Bakudo number 21, Sekienten. Ichigo placed his palms of his hand on the ground and red smoke came out as it enveloped the area. Ichigo then placed his hand on Lena's back and transferred a small drop of his Ryatsu in her, allowing her to sense where Melona is at. The two threw their swords at the weakened spot on the roof, seconds after the swords hit the weak spot as it caused Melona to trip back, spilling her acid. "Ichigo, I got this." Lena charged at Melona and trapped her in a bear hug, mashing her body with Melona's, preventing her from releasing more of her acid. "What? You tricked me," Melona said as she and Lena fell after being trapped in the bear hug. Melona felt her melons swelling up. "You won't know what happened unless you try," Lena said as she held on to her tightly. "It hurts," Melona said as she felt her melon swell up to its extent, signaling her to explode. "I can't hold it in any longer." "Lena." Ichigo charged towards Lena as Melona was on the verge of exploding. But instead of Lena being caught in the blast, Ichigo appeared an inch above her, grabbed her by the waist, and they both escaped the explosion in a sudden burst of speed. Risty, who was sitting on the edge of the castle walls, saw the whole thing. "Nicely done, Ichigo and Lena," she said with a smirk. The next day came and the two of them were on the lake side of the castle, unconscious. Lena was the first to get up and when she did, she saw Risty sitting on a small crate watching the two of them. "I see you're awake," Risty said to Lena. "Yeah," Lena replied. "What happened, though? Everything happened so fast." "You won the battle, but Ichigo saved you," Risty replied as Ichigo sat up. Lena turned to see Ichigo getting up halfway. He looked at them and chuckled a bit. "Ichigo," Lena called him as she helped him up all the way. "How did you save me? I was almost caught in that explosion just then. I had to resort to using Sonido," Ichigo replied. "It's similar to my usual flash steps, but Sonido's a little faster. I still need a lot of training to perfect it, but I was lucky to help get you out in that last second. Thanks for saving me back there. Looks like I owe you for saving me yet again." Lena smiled as she gave him a hug and a small peck on his cheek. He suddenly blushed a dark red as he felt Lena's kiss. First it's Risty and now, Lena, Ichigo thought. Wow. Are you okay, Ichigo? Lena asked him. Your face is turning red. It's nothing. Ichigo replied while chuckling sheepishly. Seeing you alive is more than enough, Lena. Since you guys are going on a journey, I would like to accompany you on your travels. Well, Ichigo, Risty replied. After helping us many times in one day, we wouldn't mind you coming. We would need a male bodyguard to keep us safe. Oh, and Risty. I figured the three of us might need some traveling money, so. Ichigo took out a scroll and placed it on the ground. As he opened it has some writing that neither Risty nor Lena can understand. As he placed his palms out in front of the scroll's transmigration circle and using his Ryatsu, the scroll began to glow blue and materialized 3 large bags filled with gold coins and jewelry. How were you able to get that much? Risty asked while Lena gasped. While we rushed to gather things before we went to get Lena, I used this scroll and transferred them into it using my spirit energy. Ichigo explained. I figured it would come in handy. Ichigo, this is going to be the beginning of an appealing friendship. Risty said as she wrapped his head around her left arm and winked at him, making Ichigo blush a dark red. Lena chuckled at the sight. Come on girls, you're making me blush so much. Ichigo said with a chuckle. Meanwhile Nanao, who had landed on a cliff, just off the side of the capital, was slightly furious at the fact that she didn't judge any of the fights that night. Ah, why does this always happen to me? Nanao yelled, echoing the area around her. In Ichigo's homeworld, Rukia returned to the spot Ichigo was caught in the blast the Hollow made while she remembered that grueling event after their task of slaying Hollows. She sighed and looked down as she tries to suppress that unfortunate moment to the back of her mind. Just then, Seishan arrived, only to see her this way. Hey, Rukia. He called. Rukia. Rukia finally snapped back to reality once Seishan got through to her. Oh, hey Seishan. She replied and then sighed. You're still worried about him, aren't you? He said. Yeah. She answered. It feels like I'm the one responsible for Ichigo to be caught in that blast. If I had made it in time, then Ichigo would. Tears ran down her face while she squinted her eyes in depression and disbelief until Seishan placed his hand on her right shoulder. She gasped and turned to see Seishan looking down on her. Right now, this is not the time for waterworks. Seishan said. I know Ichigo will be alright. He's still alive, somewhere. Kisuke and Mayuri are working their hardest to locate where he is. We'll find him soon enough. Until then, we'll wait. Rukia took what Seishan said in her systems and then she smiled calmly as she wiped the tears from her eyes. Just then, their cell phones began ringing. It was Kisuke. Seishan, Rukia, I'm gonna need you two to come to my lab. He said. I do have an invention here to help find Ichigo. If it helps, we should be able to find Ichigo by his spiritual pressure. I'll explain more when you get here. Okay, we'll be on our way. Seishan said as he and Rukia hung up. Let's hope what Kisuke said may help. Rukia said. Yeah, let's go. Seishan said as he and Rukia left using Flash Step. Elsewhere, Ichigo, Lena and Risty stopped by the orphanage Risty once lived in. Lena and Risty watched Ichigo serving the young orphan children a stew he made from different mushrooms, carrots, onions and potatoes he found upon their trek. Who wants seconds? Ichigo cried, which the kids then cheered in response with their bowls raised up into the air. Ichigo chuckled as he then gave each of them a second helping of his homemade stew. He's doing very well with the kids. Lena said. Yeah, he's fitting in with them very well. Risty said while she smirked at him. They're treating him like he's their older brother. Lena and Risty continued watching the young Shinigami as he happily served the young children. Unexpectedly, he suddenly got their attention as he smiled and waved at them while holding a ladle in his hand. Lena giggled and Risty laughed, which then made Ichigo realize he's holding the ladle and some of the stew drippings fell on his head. Ichigo then chuckled as he continued what he was doing. After feeding the children and leaving the orphanage plenty of money and jewelry, the two had left for town up ahead. You were doing a pretty good job back there, Ichigo. Risty said. You were quite the hard worker back there. Ah, it was nothing really. Ichigo chuckled a little. I just do what I can to help out. Did you have any brothers or sisters back in your time? Lena asked him. Unfortunately, no. I was the only child in my family, Ichigo replied. However, I've been babysitting a lot of cousins, though. They come visit me and the family from time to time. Risti smirked at them and then turned her attention towards the path before them. Her smile faded and slight loneliness have loomed over her a little. What about you, Risti? Just then, Ichigo and Lena saw the depressed, distorted look in her face, which led to Ichigo knowing one thing: you lost your family a long time ago, didn't you? He asked. Risti sighed and nodded as the three of them stopped. Risti sat on a log and took a rather quick deep breath before looking up at Ichigo. It was tough trying to survive on my own without much help back then, Risti explained. I lost my family in a fight by nobles when I was a child. The pain, the loneliness, the misery, it was enough to drive me crazy. Nobody should deserve to love through the same things I had. That's why I devoted my life to be what you call Robin Hood, Ichigo, giving the money to the poor by taking from the rich. I'm sorry, Risti. Lena said. I'm sorry to hear what happened. Yeah, me too. Ichigo added. To live a painful childhood to become the heroine you are now in the end. Life is indeed a tough road for all of us. You took the words right out of my mouth and made them a little more poetic. Risti said to Ichigo. That is why I want to win the Queen's Blade, so I can save the children of this land. Then I shall wish you the best of luck on reaching that goal, Risti. Ichigo said, which surprised her. I have complete faith that you'll succeed. I don't fully know all there is about this land or the Queen's Blade, but all I know is as long as I am still here I can make the best of it. For you, and Lena here. Thanks, Ichigo. Risti said while showing a small blush on her face. I guess what you said did help inspire me. Me too, Ichigo. Lena said. In a way, I am like you and Risti, new to this world and what lies beyond it. Then we'll see what's beyond it together. Ichigo smirked a little, which in return made Lena and Risti nod. As the traveling trio arrived to the next town, they saw a large group of people standing by the newsstand, while chattering over what happened. Ichigo and the others went to see what's going on. What's going on here? Risti wondered. Haven't you heard? One man said. There was a fire in the Far East, in the town of Hinamoto. Everyone that lived in it had survived that incident by a cloaked warrior. A fire in Hinamoto? Lena asked. What could have done that? And a cloaked person had saved them? Ichigo added. I wonder who that person is. 24 hours earlier. It was a quiet night in the Far East, wolves howling, crickets chirping behind the bamboo trees, everything was rather peaceful. Just then a mysterious woman wearing a beige cloak and matching neck warmer appeared on a cliff as she looked down at an old Japanese-style palace guarded by priestesses. I finally found the place they were looking for, she said as she remembered the time before she arrived. It began early afternoon as that same cloaked woman was leaving town a short while ago after getting a bite to eat. Though she is still new to the environment, its people and where to go, she was also looking for someone. With each traveler she encountered, she asked if they seen Ichigo anywhere or anytime. With each of them saying no, the cloaked traveler looked down and continued on her trek. This is going to be even tougher than I thought, the cloaked woman said. Just then, she heard some voices near where she's at. Curious, she went to find the source of the voices. She then encountered 6 mercenary ninjas on standby in the center of the forest filled to the brim with bamboo trees. The ninjas wore their typical uniforms with metal horn headbands tied around their heads. Some wore their gauntlets and other carried other items, mainly explosives, scrolls, or swords. She immediately hid herself in the tree branches and looked at them closely and saw them communicating with another group using what appears to be magic talismans. Are you in position for attack? The voice asked them. Yes, sir. One of the ninjas said. We are ready to give us the word to attack. Good. That same voice said. We shall begin the preparations for our attack on Hinamoto tonight. Those priestesses won't know what will hit them. Priestesses, Hinamoto? The cloaked woman thought. I have a feeling that they're planning an attack. I won't let them. Just as they finished their communications and they were about to move out, the cloaked woman immediately jumped down and attacked them head-on. They all tried to attack her, but her speed and evasiveness was too fast for them to catch, yet alone hit. Each of them had fallen by her hands, except one. She pinned the last ninja against the sturdy tree branches with a sword she took from an unconscious ninja and held it up against his throat. Tell me everything that you and your comrades know, or you won't be able to see the dawn of tomorrow. The cloaked woman said. All right, I'll tell you. Just don't hurt me. The scared ninja said. We, Kuma ninjas, are planning a coup d'état against the priestess of Hinamoto and take over the land. Who's in charge of the operation? She asked while she held the blade closer to his throat. Where are the priestesses you mentioned? We cannot say who's in charge. We're sworn to secrecy, he cried. The priestesses are living right up that mountainside. That's where we're supposed to start the attack. This is all I know. I see, you've been very helpful, however you must be punished. Before the ninja could react, the cloaked woman made a swift karate chop to the back of his neck, knocking him out. A coup d'état, huh? She wondered. I better warn those priestesses before it's too late. After gathering their weapons and tying the ninjas together tightly with some rope, she then made a break for the palace up the mountainside. Flashback ended. Now I can warn the priestesses, huh? As the cloaked woman was about to head there, she sensed another presence. She turned to her bottom right and saw a female ninja leaping through the trees. The fair-skinned kunoichi has short white-silver hair that gives off a light purple tint, with a long strand hanging on the right, light blue eyes and light purple lipstick on her lips. She wore a purple tunic. That did little to hide her endowed assets, waists and hips. She then arrived to the palace as well, silently evading each of the priestesses guarding the place. They must be starting the attack by sending that ninja down there, the cloaked woman assumed. I better stop her before it's too late. She immediately used her shuanpa and made her way to the palace. She leapt over building after building as she got close to that ninja. She saw her heading towards the bathhouse, sneaking closely towards the steam-seething window. Just as she was going to look into the window, she then felt a hand on her shoulder. She turned to see the cloaked woman. Don't you think it's late to peep on others like that, Kuma ninja? The cloaked woman said. Who are you? The Kuma ninja said. If you want to know my name, try and beat me, unless you're scared. She replied as she curled her finger, luring the Kuma ninja to attack her. Hey, I'm not scared. She said as she drew her kodachi and prepared herself. Then come at me, scaredy cat. The cloaked woman teased her once more. That's it. It's on. The Kuma ninja growled as she charged towards her with exceptional speed. A few minutes later, while in the bathhouse, another priestess was almost done with cleaning herself. She has purplish pale eyes and long black hair. As she wiped off the last bit of soap suds off her endowed body, she then heard a scream. She grabbed her sword and rushed out the bathhouse by breaking down the wall where the window is, despite the lack of modesty. When she got out, she and some of the other warrior priestesses rushed out to where the scream came from. When they got there, they saw the cloaked woman pinning the female Kuma ninja on the ground while she has her in a leg lock. Shizuka. The cladless priestess said. Lady. Tomo. She said while chuckling, despite the pain in her legs. You, cloaked woman, let her go. The priestess named Tomo said. The cloaked woman did what she said and let go of her. Who are you and what are you doing here? She asked. I mean you no harm. The cloaked woman said while she raised her hands as an act of surrender. I saw this Kuma ninja trying to attack you while you were unguarded. I used to be the leader. After I grew tired of their manipulative ways, I fled from the Kumas. I have no intention to attack Lady Tomo, Shizuka said. She and I used to be enemies before, but we are currently friends. I see, okay then. The cloaked woman nodded. As for who I am, I'll tell you, but in exchange, you have to listen to what I have to say. Tomo and Shizuka thought it over for a few seconds and then they turned their sights back to the cloaked figure before them. Very well. Tomo said as she, Shizuka and the others watched her take off her cloak and revealed who she is. A 5'2" slender woman with tan skin with gold eyes and long purple hair which she always keep it up in a ponytail. She wore a orange overshirt with black stretch panes and lightweight brown shoes. My name is Yoruichi Shihoin and I came to tell you what's about to happen. She said. Can you take me to whoever's in charge? Tell me why we should trust you, Yoruichi. Shizuka asked. I met up with 6 of your kind, ninja girl. Yoruichi replied while she crossed her arms under her ample assets. I heard them saying about planning to attack this place. I had to take them out and interrogate the last one to find you all. Tomo didn't say a word as she pondered over what Yoruichi said to her and Shizuka. After careful thinking, she came with the right answer to conclude the explanation. Okay, Yoruichi. Tomo said. Come with us, we'll take you to the Empress and then you'll explain it to her. It means a lot. Thank you. Yoruichi said as she bowed while the other priestesses all lowered their weapons. Ladies, kindly take Yoruichi into the main hall. But before we do that, I got one favor. Yoruichi said. Do any of you all have any food? I'm hungry. With that, everyone, including Tomo and Shizuka all fell to the ground in a cartoony manner while Yoruichi chuckled nervously. After feeding Yoruichi whose appetite is as big as every priestess in this building, they all returned to the main hall. Tomo told Shizuka and Yoruichi to stay with the others. While Tomo went to speak with the Empress, Shizuka's impatience began to show. Priestesses, warrior priestesses and priestesses. Shizuka began rocking back and forth while trying to keep patient. How boring. She began complaining like she's a little kid. As she noticed that all the priestesses in the main hall were sitting still with their eyes closed and their weapons by their sides. Yoruichi watched while she was mediating as what Shizuka was about to do. The second Shizuka would make a move as she attempts to leave, Yoruichi trapped her with Bakudo number 61, Rikujikoro without even opening her eyes, just seconds before the priestesses could even react. I wouldn't leave if I were you. Yoruichi said as she opened her right eye with a smirk. You wouldn't want your friend Tomo to get upset now, would you? Hee hee. Shizuka chuckled sheepishly and shyly as she then sat back down and pouted. Yoruichi then deactivated her spell. Stay here, one of the other warrior priestesses warned Shizuka. Lady Tomo is in an important meeting. No one, not even you, should disturb her. Discussion. Shizuka wondered. I'm guessing it's about Tomo being the next in line to take part of the Queen's Blade, right? How do you know that? That same priestess asked her. Please. Shizuka scoffed. You aren't the only ones who knows about the tournament. Queen's Blade, what's that? Yoruichi asked, which suddenly surprised everyone in the room. You never heard of the Queen's Blade tournament? Shizuka asked while all of the priestesses lowered their weapons. I can't believe that you never heard of the Queen's Blade. Where were you, hiding under a rock? She has no idea that I came from another time, unfortunately. Yoruichi thought as she chuckled sheepishly. I'll tell her and Tomo about what happened after tonight. Something like that. Yoruichi said while she held her hands up defensively. The Queen's Blade is a tournament for the most appealing of women all over the continent to fight for the title of queen. Another priestess kindly explained. It happens every 4 years. So far, Queen Aldra is the current running queen, so if anyone beats her, that person will be crowned the next queen. I see, Yoruichi nodded while she crossed her arms. So it's a tournament, huh? Sounds like it's a big deal. Yeah, it is. Shizuka said. Anyway, how weren't you able to hear about the Queen's Blade? Are you from another world or something? Actually, I never seen anyone with such skills like yours before. Shizuka, right? Yoruichi said. I could answer, but I want to explain it to you and your friend Tomo together. Ah, alright. Shizuka said as she laid back on the floor beside her. Just then the doors to the Empress's room opened with another priestess stepping out. Miss Yoruichi, would you please come in and introduce yourself? She asked. Yoruichi replied by getting up and following her into the other room. When they got there, Tomo had finished her meeting with the Empress that goes by the name Toni. Yoruichi accompanied Tomo and then explained what's about to happen tonight. I understand the situation, Lady Yoruichi. Toni said to her. Tell me, when is this coup d'état about to start? According from one of the ninjas I interrogated, tonight, milady. Yoruichi replied. Then we must prepare for battle. Toni said. Tomo, get the others and have them ready for battle. I will bequeath to you a new sword, the Mikado recommended it personally. Understood, milady. Tomo said as she bowed and left. Toni and Yoruichi watched Tomo leave before the Empress returned her sights to the Soul Reaper before her. I'll go on ahead and surveil the area, milady. Yoruichi suggested. You should evacuate right away. I'll be fine, Miss Yoruichi. The Empress smiled. You go on and scan the area. Very well. Yoruichi replied as she got up, quickly bowed and left. The second she stepped out, she went for the nearest window she finds. Shizuka was first to call her out. Yoruichi, where are you heading to? She asked. Your former friends are about to crash this party, you and the priestesses better get ready. Yoruichi replied. I'll do what I can to lessen the damages. But what if they catch you? One of the priestesses asked. Don't worry, they won't catch me so easily. Yoruichi replied with a smirk. I'm not called Goddess of the Flash for nothing. Trust me, I'll be fine. You get ready, I'll catch up. And with that, Yoruichi jumped out the window and left using Shunpa, leaping from building to building even faster than before. The warrior priestesses and even Shizuka was surprised that she can move even faster than any ninja. I can see why she had beaten me so easily, although she wasn't even trying when we had fought. Shizuka thought. Better not underestimate that girl, especially in a battle. Meanwhile, Yoruichi arrived in the palace's main garden after a series of flash stepping. As she stopped in the center of the garden, she sensed a presence around her. She smirked and sighed as she picked up her Ankin kunais and threw them into the trees to her far right. In result, 7 Kuma ninjas were flushed out, causing 2 more groups, hidden in the other trees to pop out and accompany them as they landed around the ex-captain, weapons drawn and their intent to kill, sharp. Just as I thought. You boys picked SCK lame hiding spots. Yoruichi said as she crossed her arms. That may be true, but how can you handle all of us? The leading ninja said. You're outmatched and outnumbered. You know, Yoruichi chuckled. That was what the last guy said when he and his other ninja friends had tried to catch me, before I did them in. What? He wondered, until he was surprised to see his army taken down in short mere seconds by the Flash Goddess herself with her overwhelming speed alone. He fell back, shocked and dazed, trying to wrap his head at what had happened. How were you able to beat us like that? He asked as he grew terrified at her strength and speed. This is what you get for opposing the Flash Goddess like that. Yoruichi said as she turned around and started to walk away from the squad leader. He growled as he got up, drawing his hidden dagger from a hidden ankle pocket. He then charged towards Yoruichi, attempting to stab her from the back, only for him to stab an afterimage of her as it began fading away into thin air. What kind of move was that? The squad leader cried. Utsasimi. Yoruichi said as she appeared behind him. Before the leader could react, he felt a chop to the neck by the Flash Goddess herself without putting any much effort than what she has already put out. His eyes rolled back as he then passed out. Yoruichi then sensed the presences of the Kuma ninjas near by the main tower of the palace. Alright, now I better head back to the Empress's room. Something tells me she's in danger. Yoruichi tightened her fists as she left using Shuunpa en route to the Empress's room. Meanwhile Shizuka, who was eating a dumpling, hid with the other warrior priestesses in a dark room. As she was about to finish eating, she then sensed what's about to happen through the quiet breeze that flowed through the tall trees. "What's wrong?" one of the priestesses asked her. "Better get ready, like what Yoruichi told us," Shizuka said. "My former clan is coming." Just then, several flaming arrows began raining down from the night sky. Luckily, Yoruichi arrived just in time to see the arrows falling. She began concentrating her ryatsu and then prepared herself. Shizuka stepped out to see Yoruichi standing in the direction of the arrows are heading to. What's she doing? Is she chanting or something? Shizuka wondered. "Guardian angel, superior protector, bring unto me the fruits that thine garden doth bear, as I render unto you. Ensure that the attempts of the malicious demon prove fruitless. Annihilate their offenses. Vanquish their hopes. Split the void." Yoruichi began to glow white as the ground near the targeted place began to shake. "It's some kind of incantation," one of the priestesses cried. "She must be planning to stop those arrows from attacking." Shizuka was surprised to see Yoruichi helping the priestesses out at their time of need. It then was replaced with a knowing smirk as she impressed the Kuma ninja yet again. "You really know how to impress me, Yoruichi," Shizuka said as she made a calm chuckle. "Now, Bakudo number 81. Danku." Yoruichi cried as a large clear rectangular wall erupted from the ground, blocking the palace just seconds before it came down. "That spell should protect them from those arrows. Now I must hurry." Yoruichi took a second to catch her breath and then rushed to the Empress's room. Elsewhere, another group of Kuma ninjas were standing on a rocky cliff staring down at the palace being protected by a barrier. The leader of the Kuma ninjas watched and growled as their long-ranged attacks are proven ineffective. "DMN those priestesses," the Kuma leader muttered. "They must have anticipated that we're arriving. Administer the bombs, break their defenses." While they began preparing the bombs, one of the ninjas returned with some intel about what had happened. He whispered into the leader's ear and judging by the angered look on his face, he knows it's not good news. "What? You're saying one woman took down 3 groups of my best ninjas?" The leader growled as his fists tightened up. "Shizuka, you're pretty sneaky for a traitor and I won't tolerate traitors while I'm around. Kuma ninjas, let them taste our wrath." The others agreed as they along with the leader immediately leapt into the palace with exceptional speed and then scattered all across the place. One of the Kumas arrived behind a priestess who defeated 2 other ninjas. Just as he was going to kill her, a kick was made in his face, sending him into the burning building. She turned to see Yoruichi in the nick of time. "Are you okay?" Yoruichi asked her. "I am now," she replied. "Thank you for saving me." "No problem, now head with the others to safety, I'll be back with Tomo and the Empress," Yoruichi said as she left once more, this time towards Shizuka's direction. She then arrived with short seconds to spare as she was trapped between a group of Kuma ninjas and their leader. "Yoruichi!" she cried. "I assumed you might need some help," Yoruichi said as she took her orange overshirt off, seeing that it's covered in soot and battle scars from her previous opponents. She has on a backless, sleeveless undershirt in place of her overshirt. "Yeah, I have to get to Tomo," Shizuka replied as she readied her weapon. "Me too, and the Empress," Yoruichi said. "Let's take these guys down and head to the main hall." "With pleasure." Shizuka smirked as she and Yoruichi began their fight against the opposing ninjas. One by one, the two took them down, almost like they're synchronized and in symmetry. After the two finished their tag team takedown, the 2 girls then saw Yoruichi's Kido barrier start to crack after a bombardment of barreled bombs blasting against it. It wasn't long until the barrier was shattered. "DMN, your barrier's down," Shizuka said. "Don't worry about it," Yoruichi said. Right now, we should focus on getting to Tomo and the Empress. Hold on. Right. Shizuka answered as Yoruichi placed her hand on Shizuka's shoulder and then they left using flash step. Elsewhere, Tomo and the Empress were fighting against the advancing Kuma ninjas in the room. Have you survived unharmed, Tomo? The Empress asked while she fought a few more opposing ninjas. I am fine, milady, Tomo replied as she took down her share of ninjas. As the ninjas were slain, one by one, another ninja appeared carrying an explosive barrel on his back. He grew enraged at the two women for killing most of his team. You're asking for it. The ninja cried as he performed a series of hand signs to activate the bomb. Tomo, look out. The Empress cried as she tries to protect her. Just as the ninja was about to drag the priestesses to the afterlife, a familiar voice rang their ears. They turned to see Yoruichi and Shizuka in the air. Bakudo number 73. Tazansho. Yoruichi cried as she summoned an inverted blue pyramid and formed around Tony and Tomo. The two priestesses were spared before the bomb and the room exploded. A few seconds later as the smoke and rubble cleared, the inverted pyramid then dissolved. They then see Yoruichi and Shizuka standing in front of them, and some of the other priestesses arriving to their location. Looks like we made it right on time. Shizuka said. Nice timing Yoruichi. Yoruichi. Shizuka. Tomo cried with relief. You saved us before that bomb blew up. Koni said. Thank you so much. I was lucky to make it here on time. Yoruichi replied. If I was a second slower, I would have been too late. Still you saved us and for that we thank you, Yoruichi. Tomo nodded and bowed. Hey head leader, Shizuka called out. It's best you head with the other priestesses and find someplace safe. Yoruichi, Tomo, and I can handle the rest. I shall. Lady Koni nodded and then turned to Tomo. Tomo, take this key. You know where to go. The fate of Hinamoto rests in your hands. Thank you, milady. Tomo replied as she accepted the key from her. Let's go, Shizuka and Yoruichi. The Empress watched as the three ladies left with some of the priestesses accompanying them. While they raced for the sanctuary, Shizuka sensed a familiar presence and Yoruichi noticed her reaction. Something wrong, Shizuka? She asked. No, an old friend is looking for me. Shizuka chuckled calmly with her hands on her hips. You go with Tomo, I'll catch up after I get reacquainted, if you know what I mean. Do you need my help in your fight? Yoruichi asked. That won't be necessary. Shizuka answered. You're an incredibly strong warrior, even my skills can't catch up to yours. But that doesn't mean I am incapable of handling my fights. Shizuka smirked calmly. Right now, Tomo needs your skills for the moment. I'll handle my fight and make it back in time. Okay then, Yoruichi replied as she nodded calmly, but hurry back as soon as you can. Gotcha. Shizuka said as she left as quickly as she can with her kodachi at the ready. Yoruichi then used Shunpa to catch up with Tomo. We must head to the sanctuary and quickly. Tomo said as they ran through the burning halls. Just then another swarm of Kuma ninjas attempted a surprise attack until Shunko. Yoruichi cried as she unleashed her signature technique. She appeared out of her flash step while her body was enveloped by a white lightning-like aura. The swarm of ninjas were kicked away in an instant, before they could react. Thanks Yoruichi. Tomo said as she and the priestesses ran past her. Yoruichi deactivated her Shunko and followed her to the sanctuary. Just then, one last group of ninjas appeared before the flash goddess and the priestesses. You may have survived for this long, but it ends here. One ninja said. You're all skilled, no doubt about that, but it is nothing that we can't handle, Kuma ninja. Tomo said. Give us your best shot. Oh, with pleasure. Another ninja said, but I promise you, you will soon regret those last words. The priestesses and Yoruichi all watched as their opponents before their physical forms melted into slime that then fused together into a black sphere that started to grow, until it became a gigantic frog with a red underbelly and golden eyes that are looking down at Tomo, Yoruichi and the priestesses. It stared down at them, hungrily. Okay, this is entirely new to me. Yoruichi said as she was slightly startled at the giant frog. The frog croaked and then spat out purple acid. The girls reacted by dodging the acid and began fighting back. Elsewhere, Shizuka who already arrived at the stairways saw what's happening. She was surprised at the giant frog attacking the place with its giant tongue. Oh, no, Lady Tomo. Yoruichi. Shizuka cried as she was about to rush back to where they are at until she immediately jumped back from a few kunais thrown towards her direction. I wouldn't be leaving here if I were you. The last Kuma ninja, who is the leader and Shizuka's fraternal twin brother appeared in front of her. His calm wry smile was worn on his face as he opposed his twin sister. Well. So you're leader, now. Shizuka said as she looked up at her brother while wearing a calm smirk on her face. That's right, traitor. I am. Her brother said. Since you defected from our clan, I had to take charge and rebuild it. It's a good thing I did. Shizuka said while she readied herself. I would rather work with a priestess than work with a clan of worthless mercenaries. The voluptuous Kunoichi took a small bit of pleasure from the angered look on her brother's face. He gritted his teeth and tightened his grip on his weapons. Then you shall die for your insolence. Her brother rebuked as he charged towards his twin sister with his kunai and sickle. The two ninjas immediately started their fight to the death, each attack clashed with precision with no hesitation. Back at the palace. Yoruichi and Tomo's fight against the giant bullfrog weren't going in their favor. Yoruichi used her Shunko-enhanced Muso Renbu on the underbelly of the bullfrog as she slowly sent it up high into the sky. She then made one strong concentrated Ryokan, sending it a few feet higher before she attempts to use her Kido. Sprinkled on the bones of the beast. Sharp tower, red crystal, steel ring. Move and become the wind, stop and become the calm. The sound of warring spears fills the empty castle. Heido number 63. Raikoho. Yoruichi fired a gold beam of lightning from her hand at the bullfrog as it exploded on impact. As she landed, she then felt a little fatigued from the usage of her Shunko and her Kido. Just then, the bullfrog landed before them, unscathed and unharmed. Tomo then tried to use her sword but it then broke due to its durable skin. DMN, none of my attacks are putting a dent in this thing. Yoruichi said as she stood back up. Look out, Lady Tomo and Lady Yoruichi. One of the priestesses cried as they all got in the frog's path, only to get swatted away by its tongue. Yoruichi gritted her teeth as she watched the priestesses get tossed aside like rag dolls. Feeling angered, she stood up all the way, preparing to push herself. Tomo, you get the sword the Empress mentioned, I'll keep the frog busy. Yoruichi said as she charged towards it while using her Shunko once more. Tomo watched her fight it off for a second and then she ran off to the sanctuary to get the sword the Mikado requested her. At the same time, the priestesses assisted with Yoruichi as they threw their ofuda which then explode on impact. However, the attacks have proven ineffective. The frog then used its purple acid and spat it once more on the priestesses. Meanwhile, Tomo arrived to the sanctuary's entrance. The second she opened the door, she saw a long samurai sword with a lotus flower-shaped hilt in a BLD red sheath with gold markings around it and a dark green band for her to wrap it around her. It was enveloped by a faint violet aura. As she took the sword and attempts to draw it out, she was surprised to see that it couldn't let her. Suddenly she heard the screams of her comrades. She then carried it over her shoulder and then ran back to aid them. Back in the forest, the fight between Shizuka and her brother is steadily becoming one-sided, with her brother taking the lead. Shizuka tried her best, but it was all in vain as she was pinned to a tree with the chain from her brother's kunai tied tightly around her. Can't you see? We ninjas train to perfect the art of don't care if the council gets their way, if Hinamoto does fall, we simply move to another country. Her brother said while he continued to pull his chain tighter around her. How well do we master our techniques, how much do we need to improve them? The path of a ninja is that of bloodshed, and because you ran away, you'll never be able to defeat me. Just then, Shizuka began to chuckle a little as she too was thinking the same thing her brother had thought. She remembered the very night she and Tomo had fought, back when she was the leader of the Kumas. Though Shizuka's art of killing was sharp, it had proven no match against Tomo's fighting style. She remembered the very words Tomo said to her. Warriors have a wall they're unable to scale. A warrior must have a reason to fight, so she may be endowed with the greatest strength. It's funny that you're so much like me, brother. However, Shizuka said as she performed a teleporting ninjutsu to free her from the chains. She reappeared behind her brother, who remained barely stunned. You are wrong on so many levels. You are not good enough to beat her, you never were. Why, you insolent bee? Her brother cried, though his words were ineffective against his sister. All you need are strong techniques, the strongest of techniques and the most excellent skills, that's all you're thinking. Even back then I thought so, too. Shizuka said. I used to be the Kuma leader and I wasn't afraid to walk down the path of bloodshed, but then one person opposed me. We fought but she had already won. That very path we ninjas were supposed to walk down had blinded me to the truth, and Tomo was the one who made me realize it. You dare mock our clan's reason to exist with some words that priestess has said to you? Don't make me laugh. Her brother said as he charged towards her. Shizuka smirked as she did the same. As the two ninjas reached each other, a single swing can only be heard. Both her and her brother stood on the opposite sides of each other, remaining still like statues. It's been a blast being the Kuma leader, brother. Shizuka said while smirking. But now I must move on. Curse you. Shizuka's brother muttered as blood was suddenly spilled from the deep gash on his chest appeared as he fell to the cold, dark ground, motionless and lifeless. Shizuka looked at her brother's lifeless corpse for a second and then she fled to help Tomo and Yoruichi. Back in Hinamoto, Yoruichi continues to fight against the bullfrog with some of the other priestesses assisting her. The flash goddess did get a little caught with the acid the frog spat out, causing a little of her clothes, mainly part of her top, to be melted, but she kept pushing onward. Just then, Tomo came out with the sword in her possession. Yoruichi then landed beside her. So that's the sword the Empress told you about? Yoruichi asked. Yes, it is. Tomo answered as she tied the sheath around her chest. With it, we can turn the tide of this battle, along with your skills, Miss Yoruichi. I'll be happy to lend a hand for as long as I can. Yoruichi replied while she started panting a little. Tomo nodded and turned to her fellow priestesses. Some were slightly injured and others were just free from the paralysis of the purple acid from the bullfrog. Everyone, I need you to listen and you must do as I say. Tomo said. Yes, what is it, Lady Tomo? One priestess asked. I need you to find Lady Toni and get to safety. Tomo ordered, which surprised them. I don't want to see you get hurt or worse. Yoruichi and I will handle this. All I want to see is all of you safe and sound. Tomo. Another priestess said until she and the others got up. Okay, then, just make it back to us in one piece. Tomo nodded as she watched the others leave as quickly as they can while she and Yoruichi stayed behind. After they left, Tomo turned all her attention to the bullfrog attacking their home. Lady Yoruichi, can you still fight? Tomo asked her. Yeah, I can. Yoruichi said. Since my previous attacks didn't work. I do have one last move that could possibly destroy it, however I haven't fully mastered it yet. I believe you can do it. Tomo said as she gripped the handle of the kuchinawa. Let's finish this, together. Yoruichi chuckled as she then turned to the bullfrog while smirking. She closed her eyes and took a deep breath as she stood with her legs apart from each other. Gold Ryatsu began to seep out from the legs up. I hope you're happy, ya amphibian freak show. You forced me to use this move. Yoruichi said. Honestly, I haven't mastered this move and I know I won't be able to use Shunko for a few days, but I'll be happy to test it out on you. Seigo no. Shunko. The gold aura flowing around Yoruichi began to surge faster until she regains her Shunko form. Then the Shunko energy condenses and forms 6 angel wings on her back. Though she retains her gold eyes, her hair turned from violet to a goldish white and her uniform changed into a one-piece jumpsuit that shows her outer thighs, the center of her bosom and her stomach. She also wore arm-length gloves and slim white armor were on both her forearms and legs, similar to Seishin's full-bring form. Tomo was surprised to see the Flash Goddess at her prime. Seeing her with wings and a new look really made her convinced that she really was a goddess. Shrugging that thought aside, Tomo closed her eyes and took a deep breath. Almighty Kuchinawa, please hear my call. Tomo thought as a violet aura began to appear on her weapon. Please grant me the power. The power to save my country and its people. With that, Tomo successfully drew the Kuchinawa out from its sheath while she and the weapon were enveloped in the same violet aura. Yoruichi was impressed that Tomo was able to draw out its power. She smirked calmly as she turned her attention back to the frog. Elsewhere, Shizuka stopped at a tree, only to see Tomo with the sword in hand and Yoruichi in her new form. Ready? Yoruichi asked. Yes, let's do it. Tomo said. As she charged towards the bullfrog. As the enlarged amphibian tries to attack with its tongue, Tomo simply evaded it and then jumped high into the sky, raising her weapon over her head. With the Kuchinawa arced through the air, Tomo made a downward slash across the frog's head and underbelly. She then moved out the way, mentally reminding Yoruichi to make the finishing blow. She nodded as she then used Shuunpa and reappeared in front of the bullfrog at close range. Taste this. Tenno Hakai Taiho. Yoruichi pointed her fist at the frog as the aura from her Shunko formed only one visible energy spike as it came out of her wrist, shaped almost like the crescent moon. She pulled her fist back and then with a strong yell, she lunged it forward as it released a very powerful wave of Shunko energy. The attack pierced through the frog, cutting it in half and exploded afterwards. Yoruichi immediately used her flash step and saved Tomo, seconds before the explosion happened. The two reappeared on the stairway entrance to the palace. Yoruichi was panting hard, trying to catch her breath. Tomo returned the sword to its sheath and helped Yoruichi up. Shizuka then arrived to see them. You two did it. Shizuka cried. Yeah, I couldn't been able to get it done alone without Yoruichi's help. Tomo said. Hee, Yoruichi chuckled, well, I am glad I could help out. At least we dissected a frog. The 3 female warriors all laughed together at a joke Yoruichi made, now that Hinamoto is safe, even though there are a few buildings that were burnt or exploded. At least they can be easily rebuilt. Just then, Shizuka then realized what she forgot to ask her ever since she asked her what the Queen's Blade tournament was. Hey, Yoruichi. Shizuka asked. I just realized something since you asked what the Queen's Blade tournament was about. Where were you from and what are you? Yeah, Tomo joined in. I am wondering that too. Well, to start things off, I am a Soul Reaper and how I got here. Yoruichi began to explain how she got to Hinamoto from her own time. Flashback. Wow, that movie was amazing. Yoruichi jovially said in thought while she has her usual big smile on her face. It was the middle of the afternoon, one day after Ichigo's disappearance. Yoruichi was heading back to the Kisuke's candy shop from her trip to the movie theater, happy that she saw Guardians of the Galaxy in IMAX 3D. She leapt from one building to another to get to the candy shop quicker. Just as she was passing the area Ichigo disappeared, she saw a small spark in the ash ring in the middle of the alley. Huh, what's going on here? Yoruichi said as she then went down to the ash ring in the alley. A gold spark appeared in the center 3 times, every 5 seconds. When she got close to the spark, she then sensed a familiar spiritual pressure. Is that Ichigo? She asked until the gold spark started to surge rapidly and then it suddenly pulled Yoruichi into it in a condyle manner. She fell through the same portal Ichigo fell through, but instead of landing where Ichigo's at, she landed somewhere else, passed out from the fall. Excuse me, miss? Miss? A traveler said as he tried to wake her up. Yoruichi slowly began to open her eyes and turned to the person who tried to wake her. How did I get here? Yoruichi asked as she struggled to get up. I just found you out here lying on the ground, unconscious. The traveler said as he helped her up. Either you were passed out, or you really love sunbathing. Yoruichi chuckled at his joke while she got back on her feet. Thanks for helping me up, she said. Now I gotta figure out where I am and all. I'll be happy to tell you, after treating you to something to eat, the traveler suggested. Well. Yoruichi was about to reason her way out of it until her stomach suddenly growled. Hearing her stomach growl at a time like that made her blush out of embarrassment. The two chuckled and then Yoruichi gave in. Alright then, I guess I'll have something. Yoruichi followed the traveler back to town and brought her to the restaurant he owned. After giving her a bowl of his famous ramen, he explained where she's at and some of its history. Yoruichi was entirely new to the world she's in, but she's slowly grasping the situation at hand. Flashback ended. Wow. That explains everything, Shizuka said as she was rather surprised that she came from another time. The next day, Tomo, Shizuka and Yoruichi were at the harbor. Alongside them, they were accompanied by the priestesses of Hinamoto and their empress, Toni. They wanted to personally thank them for saving them and their home. Tomo, Shizuka, and Yoruichi. I want to thank the three of you for everything, Toni said. Not only you saved us from the Kuma ninjas, but you also helped save our home. It's no problem, we're glad to help, Yoruichi said while rubbing the back of her head. Tomo, one of the priestesses, called her, this boat will take you out to the western side of the country where the Queen's Blade will be held. It's a shame we won't be able to see you in person, but we'll root for you from here. It means a lot, thank you. Tomo smiled as she gave them all a group hug. Tomo, she reminds me of Ichigo in a way, Yoruichi thought as she began to remember Ichigo back when she first met him. She smirked calmly at how calm the young man is when meeting other people. After sharing some parting words, the three young women got on the boat and sailed off. The priestesses and their empress all waved and cheered at them leaving. The three girls all watched as the boat streamed across the open body of water. Shizuka was rather fascinated at the new sights. Tomo was reading the directions on how to communicate with Western people, and Yoruichi, doing her usual sunbathing. Hey Shizuka, a thought had came to mind. Yoruichi wondered. Why do you want to go to the West so bad? I heard they have this cold sweet treat called ice cream over there. Shizuka sighed dreamily, thinking of the delicious dessert she's dying to get her hands on. Ooh. I'm so excited. What about you, Tomo? Yoruichi asked her. What do you like to do other than partaking in the Queen's Blade tournament, when we get there? Well. Tomo pondered over the question. I would like to meet with new people and learn some of the Western cultures and recreations over there. Shizuka chuckled until she then turned to Yoruichi. What about you, Yoruichi? Shizuka wondered. There has to be something really good over there that you want to do. Well. Yoruichi was about to answer her question until she then picked up some ryatsu from afar. It's gradually becoming faint, but she knows whose it is. She immediately got up and began walking to the front of the ship, not before she muttered, Ichigo. Ichigo. The two girls repeated as they ran to the front with her. What's Ichigo? Tomo asked. It's not a what, but a who. Yoruichi answered. Ichigo is like me, a soul reaper. He is? Shizuka asked, wondering who Ichigo looks like. I bet he's strong like you. Oh, believe me, he is. Yoruichi replied with a smirk. Since this boat ride will take some time until we get to the west, care to tell us a little about you and Ichigo? Tomo asked. Yeah, I want to know, too. Shizuka asked. Alright then. Yoruichi smirked as she sat down with Tomo and Shizuka beside her as she tells her story. It all starts when. It was a couple of hours since Yoruichi, Tomo, and Shizuka left Hinamoto after saving the priestesses from the Kuma ninjas' guerrilla invasion. As they arrived to the west, the three girls decided to take a load off at the nearest beach they could get to. This is strange, Tomo looked around the place seeing nothing but palm trees, beach houses, the warmest sand around, the docks they got off from, and the two floating glass orbs in the sky. Is this where we're supposed to be? Of course I'm sure. They have ice cream here. Shizuka said as she ate a spoonful of the western treat she wanted to try out for so long. Yum. This is so good. Shizuka appeared wearing a two-piece swimsuit, a black sash that almost covered her cleavage with a red flower on the left side of her top. She also wore a black string bikini beneath her black tie-up skirt with orange spots. Why do you dress like that, Shizuka? Tomo asked. So we can get used to the Western culture. Shizuka replied. The beaches here are one of the hot spots here in the West, Tomo. Yoruichi said as she stepped out to accompany them. She wore a two-piece orange swimsuit with a matching tie-up skirt that covered her right leg while her left leg remained uncovered, exposing her tribal tattoo on her thigh. People come here all the time to unwind and relax, ain't that right, Shizuka? That's right, Yoruichi. She replied as she and Yoruichi giggled and high-fived each other while holding their ice cream cups in their other hands. I see. Tomo replied while she remained calm but serious at the same time. Right now, I mustn't lost focus on the mission at hand. Ah, you're being way too serious. Tomo. Shizuka wind. Hey, I know we should have you try out some outfits. What? Tomo gasped. Shizuka's right, Yoruichi added. You should take some time to unwind yourself. Some time here can help ease your mind. But, Tomo tried to reason her way out, but Shizuka and Yoruichi insisted. Believe me, you'll thank us for this. Shizuka said and Yoruichi nodded. I suppose some time off couldn't hurt us. Tomo replied and then sighed. Good. Shizuka cheered. You go on ahead and look for some clothes and I'll catch up. Tomo nodded a little as she got up from where she sat and then left to look for some clothes. While she's gone, Shizuka and Yoruichi smiled and chuckled a little at each other, now that Tomo decided to wind down for now. So Yoruichi, Shizuka called her. Is what you said about Ichigo true? Yep, Yoruichi replied. He's like an untamed dragon in battle with a heart of gold. He's quite the hot stuff, Shizuka said as she chuckled, and you say that he's somewhere in the west. That's right. I felt his power while we were on the boat ride here. Yoruichi replied. We'll go find him after we get some R&R. Sounds like a plan. Shizuka nodded as she winked. Elsewhere, Ichigo, Risty and Lena were walking down a nostalgic path. When Lena looked at the area all around her and the scar left etched in the ground, she remembered when Ichigo saved Lena from Melona's grasp. I remember this place. Lena said, which caught Ichigo's attention. Something wrong, Lena? He asked. No, it's nothing. Lena replied. Just a small memento telling me to keep getting stronger. Don't worry, you will. He replied while smiling calmly. Hey, what's keeping you? Risty cried out. It's nothing, Risty. Ichigo said as he and Lena caught up with her. Just remembering. Good, then come look at where we're heading to. Risty smirked as she turned and looked down at the next town they're heading to. What's that? Ichigo asked. Ah! She cried. This must be the border of the Queen's domain. The border of the Queen's domain, huh? Ichigo wondered. Long name for a buyer's market or something like that. So you heard of things like that in your time? Lena asked. Kinda sorta. Ichigo replied, and then he turned back to the gathering of people down there. I sent someone, know a few people. Ichigo's hollow said. You think it's either Alina or Claudette? Ichigo asked telepathically. It's possible, but we must keep our eyes peeled for anything suspicious. Hollow replied. Understood. He replied, and then he turned back to the two girls. Shall we then? You bet, Ichigo. Risti replied as she and Lena followed him. Ichigo, Lena, and Risti all continued down the mountain path to the border. It wasn't long until they arrived to the entrance. When they got there, they encountered a few female guards. Guards? Risti wondered. Why are they here? We better be on our toes. Ichigo replied to the girls. I can assure it's either Claudette or Alina around here. We must pass by them silently. Yeah, but how? Lena wondered until she encountered a man riding a two-horse carriage with a hood covering his belongings. What about that? Ichigo and Risti looked at the carriage Lena mentioned. Risti smirked as she started to like the idea. You're pretty smart for a warrior. Risti said as she patted her on the shoulder. Let's go. Good eyes, Lena. Ichigo added, which made her smile while he took her hand and led her to the carriage. The three travelers all snuck into the back of the carriage inconspicuously and concealed themselves under the blankets. While they managed to sneak inside the queen's domain, Claudette watched as the other travelers were passing into the border. Her face became more cold and bitter, her fists tightened and her blood slowly began to boil a little as she remembered the red-haired Soul Reaper who helped Risti and Lena escape the capital that night. DMN that traveler. Claudette thought. He made a mockery to me, my sisters, and to the Count's name. Not only that, but he aided Lena and that thief out of the capital. I will make him pay for what he had done. Still bummed about that unfortunate event that night, Thundercloud General. Claudette turned and spotted an elf woman with green hair and piercing red eyes. She wore a snake-themed vest-like top with turtle shell shoulder plates with a red dot on the back of each of them. The vest has a red gem on each BRST, surrounded by a spiral pattern. Alongside the white shin guards with dull green thigh-highs underneath it, the only thing she has for underwear was her pet snake, even though it did little to cover her extremities. I didn't ask for any jokes to be made, veteran mercenary Echidna. Claudette said. You're here for one reason, the Count hired you to help, so you better do your part. Humph. Echidna smirked as she looked at the wanted pictures left on the desk next to her. So that's your sister Lena, she looks positively delicious. She chuckled while she licked her lips lustfully at the picture. She's been taken by this renegade named Ichigo Samyu and the thief named Risti. Claudette said as she took the other wanted pictures and showed it to her. I need you to find Lena and bring her back. Just know that how I handle her is up to me. Echidna replied as she walked towards the open window. Humph, don't be doing anything stupid. Claudette said while glaring at the elf before her. What about the other two? Echidna asked as she took the wanted papers. Bring them back, alive. Claudette replied. Especially Ichigo. I want to deal with him, personally. Whatever you say, Claudette. Echidna said as she gave her a mock salute and back flipped out the window. Claudette walked towards the window, only to see that Echidna vanished completely. Such a fool. Claudette growled as she crumpled up the wanted papers in her right hand. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for part 3. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author Takamagara 2012 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye.